High on Mount Etna, four adventurers leave the light of the bright spring sun at the mouth of the cave. They pause, adjusting to the dark, damp environment. Then, in silence, they begin making preparations for their journey. They pack scientific instruments, food, water, hand-cranked flashlights, and ropes, extra long ropes, for they attempt to journey to the center of the earth. As they begin their descent, they feel and hear currents of air rise around them, growing stronger the further they descend. They nod silently to each other in satisfaction. The writings of Arnie Sackison, who claimed to have reached the Earth's center, indicated this was to be expected. It means the passageway runs deep, very deep. This is a good sign. A good sign indeed.
At the center of the earth, who knows what they'll find? Could be people or monsters of some kind. At the center of the earth, they'll know in time. They'll cross crevices and look for the signs from Arnie Sackler's son. Those they can find. The center of the earth is what they seek. The center of the earth is where they want to be. The center of the earth. The center of the earth. The center of the earth. The center of the earth.
Emerging from the bottom of the shaft, they find an immense underground sea, which they must cross. Using their saws and some of their extra long rope, they build a raft out of driftwood they find upon the beach. Just as they finish the raft, they witness two dinosaurs in a fight to the death. The Stegosaurus defeats the Triceratops and then inexplicably leaves tons of fresh meat to try to eat four tiny humans. They push out to sea just in time to avoid being eaten. Even more inexplicable is the fact that neither dinosaur is a carnivore. Nonetheless, our adventurers narrowly escape death.
They floated along. They had to go far, somewhere across the waves. Neath underground stars, there was a girl on a raft. Being naked was a sin, so they couldn't go to the bathroom. They had to hold it in. about to bust. Then suddenly, a monster reared its head straight from the sea. He started to upset the raft. Then there was a vortex, causing a gigantic whirlpool. The monster swam away, but the raft was sucked into the whirlpool. They spun around and around, causing them to become very dizzy, until finally they were pulled beneath the surface. Down, 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 until suddenly they found themselves half drowned, but not all the way drowned, in a sea evidently lower than the one they had been sucked out of. And luckily, they were right beside a beach, so they didn't need their destroyed raft anymore. They crawled on the beach and passed out for a while. No monsters ate them. They were away for a while. And so they lived. And so neither the sea monster or the whirlpool killed them. And they had managed to travel straight down several thousand miles, which actually worked to their advantage, because you can't really get that far just rappelling and walking and crawling or sailing, even if you sailed on a really fast raft. There's a lot of magma at the center of the earth, and normally it's very hot, but the water from the underground sea kept them cool, just like you don't get hot when you're in a swimming pool. Same principle. And there was light from somewhere so they could see. And finally, they woke up, but all they had brought with them from the surface was gone. They were left with nothing. Where can they run to? What more can they do? They lost all their water. They lost all their food. Dreams turned to nightmares. They lost all their food. They lost all their water. They were hungry, dude. Yeah! When they awoke, they heard drums in the distance. As they cautiously approached the source, they came upon a village of humanoids. They had no choice but to show themselves and appeal to their mercy. They decided to talk to the one playing the drums. He said his name was Greg, but he wouldn't stop playing drums. So, Greg, could you stop playing drums for a second and talk to us? We're
scurry.
Drums must not stop.
Well, could you just stop for a sec?
Drums must not stop.
Well, we just...
Drums must not stop.
Dude, what happens if the drums stop?
Drums stop. Then come bass solo.
All right. We see your point. Keep going. We're trying to get to the center of the earth. Can you help us?
Yes, it is that way. You must go now.
But there was a mysterious forest they had to get through first, and they didn't know how. It was the forest of mysterious female voices.
I didn't know by sight that you were
Greg told us that the center of the earth and the center of the forest of mysterious female voices was one and the same. He said no man had ever made it there except by complete accident. And even those that got there were never permitted to stay long. He told us that to pass through to the center of the female forest, we must listen closely to every instruction the voices chose to give and obey without exception. If we did not please the female spirits, our lives would be forever cursed. He advised us not to even try. But we would not be dissuaded. Soon, however, we were forced to admit the instructions were confusing, often contradictory, and impossible to obey. We became hopelessly lost. Utterly defeated, we returned to the village of the humanoids. Greg began to play a strange rhythm. And the one called Mike played his strange instrument. It was a sound our travelers had never heard. The strange sound indeed. A sound rendered unto the volcano god. villagers danced. And oh, how they danced. Suddenly, the surface beneath their feet began to crack and boil. Fissures ran through the earth. It was a volcano, an underground volcano. They had to run to get to this strange plate thing of stone made by the ancients, the Aztecs, the Mayans, maybe both of them together. And somehow it got to the center of the earth. And they got in it, and they went up an elevator shaft. Or kind of like it was a volcano shaft that acted like an elevator, and they rose and rose and rose and rose and rose toward the surface of the earth. Inverted, but we're rising toward the surface of the earth. We rise, we're moving at the speed of sound, rising back toward our world. We'll be there if we don't freak out and act like a bunch of girls. We see through the hole above a bright, tiny light.
Quiet.
It's from the sun. And Grace gonna sing a while now.
Just have it white. Eat it. See it. Hear it. Good. Can't. Have it.
We rise toward the surface of the earth, and Greg is here with us. We'll introduce him to humanity, and Ashley with us. And we were spewed out at the surface of the earth, and we fell in the water naked, and some nuns found us. We are so lucky to be alive. Prologue. It's been many years now since the expedition. I would like to think humanity can learn several lessons from our experience. Number one, it's hard to go to the center of the earth. There's a lot of walking and crawling, and it's always hot or cold, never just right. And there are no bathrooms. You just have to go wherever. It can be really embarrassing. Two, it's expensive. Not only do you have to raise huge amounts of money, you have to take a lot of time off from your regular job. And three, it's dangerous. We were extremely lucky at every turn. That part about there being light after our flashlights were destroyed was damn lucky. And the part where the humanoids just happened to speak English, amazing. Not to mention traveling most of the way down in a whirlpool without drowning. And the fact that the volcano shaft was smooth and just wide enough for us to be lifted in a stone bowl all the way to the surface. Well, The list of highly unlikely events just goes on and on. It's almost as if our fate was scripted. People ask me, would I do it again? Hell no. I have reflected deeply through the years about our amazing journey and have come to the conclusion best expressed by the great genius of our generation, Homer Simpson. If it's hard, it's probably not worth doing. Good night, and may God bless.